Hello, we are now live. I am live with these two awesome humans, Jacob Smales and Callum Dan. Thank you both so much for coming on this show and talking to me about this. I'm very excited. And now I'm like, why is that not showing what I want it to show? What does it say? How come you are not safe? Okay, good. It's exactly what I want to say. But before I get into that, and I'm going to introduce you to these two awesome humans, what I want to do is actually just say hello to those that are jumping on. So if you are jumping on, hello, Michelle. Mum's watching, Jacob. Hello, Maureen. Anyone else that is jumping on? Yeah, of course. If you're jumping on from Evolve, YouTube, my business page, wherever you're jumping on from. Hello, Jennifer. I can't always see all of you. I would love you to leave a comment and just say hi, and I can acknowledge that you're on here. Tonight, we are talking to these two. How old are you guys? Like 21? 21?
19.
You're 19?
Yes, I'm 19.
Now, oh man, now I'm even more impressed. You're 21.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. A 19 and a 21-year-old who are doing some incredible work, and I could not share this with all of you. So yeah, as you jump on, please do let me know. And hello, Nikita. As you jump on, please, let us know. And we want to engage with you and this conversation. I think it's a very important conversation to have. And that is, how come we're not safe? And how come we filter who we are? And I'm talking to two men that are actually making that difference amongst young men and have created a group called Blokes for men to come and express themselves. Hello, Alex. You will love this. These two young men making it possible for people their age, 19 and 21, to express themselves. So, hey, Gary. So why don't I introduce you, Callum or Jacob? Tell me a little bit about yourself and how you came into creating Blokes Life.
All right, Jacob, would you like to start? Would you like me to go into
it? You can go and then I'll go.
All right. Okay, so I'm Callum Dan. I am a founder of Best Life, which kind of started the whole idea of Blokes Life. We kind of got the name and the idea of what Best Life's about. But me and Jacob was speaking to Jacob's sister and a close friend of mine called Emily. She was talking to us, and we started noticing that men weren't showing up online, and they weren't expressing themselves. They weren't communicating their emotions, and they weren't communicating in general. They weren't even watching. So we thought that it would be a great idea to have an environment or a group where guys can openly express themselves and express what they're about, without the fear of being ashamed or judged by females or other men in a female environment. We started to notice that as soon as we created the page that people started taking it a little bit on the joking side, because there are a lot of men's pages who joke about these kind of things and most of them are misogynistic. They objectify women. They're prejudiced. They're racist. It's just memes and all that kind of stuff. So we had to really put our foot down, because that's at the start. That's the direction we were heading. So we really had to put our foot down and really create what the group was about through a call. So we started to make calls every Monday where we had people on to talk about their stories through a topic. So I think the first one we talked about was what was the hardest decision we've ever made in our lives. And me and Jacob went into that, leading the conversation with two other gentlemen called Connor and Matthew. And they really expressed themselves with an open dialogue in front of a bunch of other men. I think we had 120 something views on that video. Which is for our first video. That was pretty impressive for our first Monday live, and I was very excited and very happy about that. But yeah, we found that me and Jacob even got to express ourselves and our experiences. For example, I had a prescription drug addict mother, and it was throughout all of high school where everyone all my family kind of moved away, and it was me and my sister and my mother on our own, and I was kind of there raising my mother and my sister as a 13 to 17-year-old boy. It's a very hard thing to do. And I got to express myself and talk about those kind of things in front of a bunch of other men. It was the most liberating thing I've ever done in my life. That's all from me. I'd like Jacob to handle it. Let's go.
Thank you.
My name,
Thanks, heaps, Callum. Yeah, you go.
I'm Jacob. I'm the co-founder of Best Life as well, and we were creating an event for Best Life, but COVID-19 wanted to get in the way of that, which then created a space that Emily created called Real Talk. And when Emily created Real Talk, she didn't see many men actually getting involved at all, which is not surprising. Like, I didn't get involved because that wasn't just my area. I wouldn't want to speak about my issues. But when Emily came up to me and Callum and offered this opportunity to us, I was like, why not? We'll give it a go, see how it goes. And at the end of the day, I'm 1,000% happy that I took that opportunity, because it's helped myself. I know it's helped Callum, and it's going to help a lot of men in the future and at the time right now. Which I never thought, being Jacob, I would get to this stage of life and be like, oh yeah, 21, I just about own my own group of Blokes Life, helping others, helping myself, helping friends, helping family, and creating such a huge, safe environment for young blokes to get involved and just chat and love life and live life to the fullest.
Yeah, and it's, look, I love what you're doing so much. I've actually said this to Emily. So Emily you guys are all the co-founder of Best Life, and you created this Blokes Life, right? I love what you're doing so much because it is so different, and you created this space for young men. So you're 21, Callum's 19, and you guys both said to me, I'm just going to read this out. I said, what's your intention for tonight? And your intention was that people know that there are people out there that making a difference to young men to change, and to create a safe space for people to talk about their feelings and what really matters. So what is it that, either one of you can answer this, like, what is it that happened for you that you went, I want to go out and provide this safe space for men, young men, to be able to talk about what matters?
Jacob, do you
The
want
opportunity.
we can take turns. See, this is what we often do this, where we'd be talking back and forth and be like, yeah, you go, yeah, I go, yeah.
I love it. Honestly, authenticity is so much more important. You guys are awesome. I told you, you're my man crush, both of you.
Like,
Jacob's like,
Don't start.
Yeah, you go for it, Jacob.
No, I was talking about Jess.
he's talking to me. He's like, don't start you.
Oh, okay, so
Tell me.
Question again, and then I'll drill into it.
The question again, like, what had you, like, you sort of touched on this thing with your mum, right?
Yeah.
And did you feel when you go, like, tell me about that. Like, what happened with your mum, and what was it that you felt like you couldn't talk to guys around you about?
Well, I didn't want them to feel sorry for me, and I didn't want to kind of give that kind of persona, because when you're a guy and you're in high school, it's you want to be tough, you want to be a bloke, you want to be the man, you want to be the guy, you want to go around drinking, you want to be tough as nails, you want to get laid, that kind of stuff. Like, that's all you want to do. That's the approach to high school for guys. That's what we're kind of forced into, a lot of us. So when I had troubles at home, I kind of couldn't talk about that. And when I did, it would often shock people, because I didn't kind of give off that kind of emotion or that kind of energy that I needed help. So for me, it was all about hiding what was going on all the time. Like, I was supposed to show up in my community as much as I could, hiding the fact that I was struggling to get by every day.
Yeah, wow. So here you are in high school, needing to show up tough and strong and wanting to shag all the girls. And you kind of need to be, yeah, pretty much. But what's actually going on? What was actually going on for you that you felt like you had to hide?
Well, I had, you know what I had to hide. It was the fact that I couldn't have people over at my house. My house was disgusting. It was that no one was cleaning it. We did have cleaning ladies every week, but like when your parent doesn't tell you to do anything, you don't have any chores, you don't have anything to do because they're incapable of doing that. When they can't even tell you to go to school, I could stay home whenever I wanted, and that's very dangerous for a young kid. So I kind of just I wasn't able to tell anyone to, hey, want to come over to mine. I wasn't able to bring a girl back to my place. I wasn't allowed to do any of that. I couldn't have friends over. I think Matt was the only friend I ever had over, because he was the only friend I could trust meeting my mother and meeting the environment that I live in. It was scary, and I had to essentially hide my entire life outside of school and parties. I had to hide all of it.
Yeah. So you couldn't have people over. You had this house that just wasn't getting looked after and wasn't getting cleaned.
Yeah.
What was actually going on? Like what was going on with you? Like what was it that you never got to express that you really wanted to express and didn't feel safe to express?
Well, that I was scared. That I was scared that I was doing everything wrong because I had no one telling me what to do. I was put in a position where I had to make my own decisions at all times.
How old were you?
It started at 14.
Yeah.
So it started at 14 and then it finished it when I was 17. But it was essentially growing up, raising myself, and making my own decisions, and kind of trying to develop develop a mentality and a manhood by myself on my own. And all I had going was the stereotypes. That's all I had to write on. I didn't have anyone to talk about, anyone to talk to. All I could do was look at the stereotypes and try and because that's all I had going for me. That's all I could look at to reflect on how do I become a man? How do I develop?
Yeah.
How do I do that? All I can do is look at the stereotypes. Drink. Be cool, go out, try and shag, try and drink more than your mates, party all the time, go out, wear too much cologne, eat a lot, work out, play sports, and that's it. That's all the stereotypes I was given. That's all I could do. And it was a tough time. It really was. But I developed a mentality where it wasn't a problem. I didn't think it was a problem. I kind of just lived with it and got used to it. So eventually I got used to a double life where I would hide everything that was really going on. And when someone would talk to me about my home life, I would completely lie about it so that I didn't have to really explain what my life was like. It was just complete. It became natural for me to avoid talking about my home life at all times.
You just change the subject to something else?
Yeah, pretty much. Or I'd just say that I was living with my father.
So you'd lie about it even? Did you say you're living with your father? Weren't you living with your mum?
I told them I was living with my father. That's what I told them, but I wasn't.
Yeah, so you lied about it even.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think once you told me the story about how this was happening with your mum, and you made this decision that because your mum was sort of on her own, you had this deep compassion for what she was dealing with. So you felt like you needed to kind of be the man in the house, something like that?
I'll tell you, so where it came from, where it stemmed from. So I'll tell you the story from how I developed this mentality. So this was the second or third time we went to the hospital. Ambulance came to my house. My sister was in tears. My mum was on the ground. She was completely drugged out, overdosed on Seroquel, Tramadol, and Stilnox. All very dangerous drugs. And I the ambulance came and they thought she was trying to kill herself. She wasn't. She just didn't know how to take her medication properly. She was obviously a prescription drug addict, so she took too much. And they thought she was trying to harm herself. She wasn't. They didn't understand that. So it was just when I got in the ambulance and they looked at me, it was just, they kept looking at me as if I was the child of a woman who was trying to kill herself all the time. Like, that's how they looked at me. And then in that moment, I decided that I couldn't have anyone sympathize with me, because that's having those eyes on me when I was sitting down across from my mum, lady there, lady behind me, talking to me and stuff and all that, and she's just looking at me, and I'm like, I'm a 14-year-old boy. I've got no one around me. I've got no men. I've got the only, like, even women. I don't even have proper women around me. I'm my little sister. And I decided I had to be a man. I had to kind of man up and be the man of the house and make the decisions. And I still didn't know what that looked like, which is where a lot of the problems were. And where a lot of the hardship stemmed from. But that's kind of where it all happened and where it all began.
Yeah. So you didn't really know. Alex is saying you can't put your mouth closer to the microphone. So hopefully this is loud enough. But you didn't really know how to be a man. Alex does a lot of men's work too, so he'd be one of your biggest fans right now. That's why he's an incredible guy that does heaps of men's work, and he runs his own men's group. So here you are trying to be someone that kind of creates this place where you can be this man of the house for your mum. No one really understands you. These people coming out, your mum's really suffering with something. She's not knowing how to use her medication. You don't know how to be, so you decide, okay, I need to kind of be this guy, but I'm not even sure what that guy is, so I'm just going to take on all the role models and all the stereotypes that I know exist already.
Yes, that's spot on.
Yeah. And what was that like for you? Like, when we talk about this question here, you know, where we say, how come you're not safe? Did you feel safe? Were you filtering yourself? Like, what was that like?
Well, I didn't feel safe if I was myself. I felt safe if I was someone else. Like, I would kind of, throughout high school, build up a persona that wasn't me. I'd be a different person. I'd be a completely different person. How I socialized, the mood swings, everything. Like, I developed a completely different personality when I went to high school and I went to everyone, compared to when I came home. It was completely, I was two different people. Like, if you met me while I was in school, and you met me while I was at home, you wouldn't have recognized who I was. I had to create, essentially, just being me was impossible. That's what I felt like at all times.
What do you think it was? And I'm going to come to you about this very soon, Jacob. But what do you think it was that had you not feel safe to be you? What was that?
Well, I was taught with the stereotypes, because I didn't have a man to talk to or anything, or a woman. With the stereotypes, I was taught to bottle it up, harden the fuck up, man up. You to take this on the chin. That's all I had going, because that's all that there was. That's all that I knew. Like, every stereotype I've ever seen, it's take it on the chin, hide it all in, and if you're gonna be upset, go have a shower, be in your own, like, kind of thing. Like, you can't be around people when you're upset. You can't express, you can't talk to people. Everything has to be handled on your own by yourself at all times. And you show one sign of weakness means you're weak. That's what I kind of knew. Yeah.
And what was it that you really wanted to express in those times that you felt like you couldn't, that you now can, and you're, like, sharing with Blokes Life?
Well, now I really wanted to express that not to hide everything, not to be different, not to care about where you're from or where you live. To understand that you don't have control over everything, and that everything isn't your fault, and that you shouldn't be judged for it, and you shouldn't have to change who you are because of it. That's what I learned and I developed now. And now, because of that, I'm completely comfortable sharing and talking about these kind of things. And I'm kind of pushing to help people who've experienced these things express them in a safe environment, because I wish I had. And if I didn't have it, at least I can give it.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's really awesome. And I want to talk to you guys more, but I also want to hear from Jacob around, his experience as well. And thank you so much for sharing that, Callum. So, in terms of the same thing, Jacob, for those jumping on, hello, Mark and John Smales, Dad's on the line. It's Sky, Trish, Alex. Jacob, for you, what was it for you? Like, what was it for you that was like these experiences where you just keep getting told it's not really safe to express who you really want to be?
It was more my own mindset. Growing up with older brothers, and always, like, my oldest brother was very depressed, like, most of my life. So I always lived around it. Get emotions out by anger. I don't blame him for anger issues at all, but that's how I lived around it. If you started crying, turn that crying into anger and start going crazy, kind of thing. I was pretty lucky because I actually saw a counsellor most of my high school life because I was a counsellor. But today I still didn't tell him everything, which I should have. But it's not really the people around me that were telling me, like, yeah, through school and everything, people be like, oh, you're a bitch, you're a sook, you're crying, fucking rah rah. But it was more my own mindset telling me, don't be a bitch in front of your mates. Don't be a bitch in front of women. Don't be a bitch in front of all these other people other than the counsellor. And like I said before, I didn't tell the counsellor everything. Most people don't, and that's the biggest issue. If you don't get it all out, it's going to stay in the back of your head.
Yeah. What had you...
Which it did.
What had you think you couldn't?
Yeah. Well,
like, we talked about why are we not safe? Why did you feel you had to edit that all out?
Because I didn't want to look like a bitch.
How come you didn't want to look like a bitch?
Because that's, like Callum was saying before, that's not the stereotype of a male. Males are supposed to be all not angry, but like all muscly and fucking don't care about things and just not get upset, not be emotional. That's why we've created this space for people to feel safe, to be able to get them emotions out without having females. If they have issues with getting it out in front of females, they don't have that issue in our safe place.
Yeah. And what's happening?
But yeah, like.
Sorry about the delay. There's a delay, so I'm cutting you off. But so you felt like, where does this male thing come from? Where is this male stereotype coming from? Where do you see it? How do you, where is this? What is it? Because you both talk about there's this male stereotype that you both keep getting told. You need to be tough. You need to not express yourself. You need to toughen up and don't be a bitch.
I think it's just growing up. If you grow up and your dad is the man of the house, if he won't cry in front of you. I know Dad never really cried in front of me. If he was upset, he would just go away and have a few beers or whatever and be the strong person of the family. He would look after us all, even if it was the end of the world. Even if he was dying himself, he'd still look after us. I think that's why a lot of young people and men in general won't talk about it, because they want to be strong. They want to be able to help others before themselves.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And what was that for you? So you tell a story as well. I know that, the story that I got really moved by is, like, just so everyone knows, I literally love these guys so much that when I hear them speak, I cry. I've become a little bitch and I'm proud of it. Right? But, when you guys talk about, well, Jacob, what was it that happened for you when you were like, I'm not doing this anymore. I've freaking had enough and I'm going to create something that is going to really impact this. What was it that happened for you?
It wasn't really what happened to me. It was more my sister put the idea into my head and me thinking about it, thinking, fuck yeah, this is going to help myself and others get through something that no one's ever done before and create the safe place we have. It was nowhere near my idea. I would have never seen myself do this.
And what did she say to you? I love this story.
Which one, me borrowing money or?
Yeah, didn't she bribe you? Did she go?
There was the money. Go for it.
So I'm terrible with money, as all my family would know and friends. So I asked my sister Emily for $100 to do something, and she's like, "Oh, I'll give you $100 if you do something for me." I was like, "Oh fuck, here we go. What do you want me to do?" And she said, "I want you to be a co-founder and a leader of Best Life." And I was like, I put it off for about 10 minutes. I was like, "Oh fuck it, I'll give it a go." And I got my $100. And yeah, we've just been going strong ever since. She got $100 back though.
She did. She got $100 back. But what was the big trigger for you though, Jacob? You had a big trigger. You're like, yeah, my sister got me into this, but there was actually something that you went, and I know, because I know your story. It's like there was a big trigger for you where you're like, this is why I'm invested in this.
So like I said before, through high school, I had a counselor I could go see all the time if something bad happened. When I graduated from high school, I moved up to the Sunshine Coast, and I think it was about 2 years ago, one of my best mates actually killed himself. And all of us boys just got on the piss and shaved our heads and just did stupid shit. None of us have really talked about it. None of us have really done anything about it. All of us not really can't be fucked, but can't be fucked going to see a counsellor. And this has helped myself a lot because I can actually be able to talk about this now. I don't even know who the fuck's watching. I don't know who's going to watch it. But for me, myself, being able to actually express myself online in front of probably thousands of people in the future is crazy because I got it out in the first place. It's out of my system. I feel a lot happier. It's not such a weight on me. I still feel bad. I still feel sad and upset that my mate killed himself. You're never going to get over that. But I feel a lot better thinking I can actually talk to people about it when I actually am sad and depressed.
Yeah. And you also talked about what happened right before leading up to him committing suicide, which was, when he killed himself, you knew he was unwell and he needed you and you didn't feel like you could talk to anyone either.
He was going through depression for years. We didn't know really how to help him. We knew how to help him was to try to talk to him, but he would talk. He would talk so much, and he would talk about his own stuff. We would be on the piss, and like I remember one night being in Caloundra when I didn't live up here, and just laying in the middle of the road with him, crying, bawling my eyes out on the piss with him, because he was telling me some of the shit that was going through his head, and like he had to go to the mental ward and broke out of the mental ward and did all this stupid shit. And it was surprising that he actually ended up killing himself because we all thought, fuck, we don't know if he's going to or what's to go. Like, we didn't know what to do, what to say. We were a bit scared to say anything just in case. We wanted to help him, but we didn't know how to. We tried to point him in the right direction, but we couldn't because he didn't want to go into the right direction kind of thing. But yeah, like, I don't know, that Riley was someone that at the end of the day, as much as you tried, you probably weren't going to help him at all. And that's what hits hard. that you actually know you can't help them, but you keep trying.
Yeah, I get it. I think you talked about that. It's like you wanted to support him. You didn't know what you needed to say to make this difference to him, and it still happened. But it's like then it had you reflect on, maybe as a man, we really don't know how to open up and express ourselves here. Maybe that might have made a difference, right? Do you think?
Yeah.
Like, is that why you're here?
Yeah.
Like, what is it about that whole culture and scenario that you're like, what if I did this? It might have made a difference, right?
Well, I think that for our space and what we've created for Blokes Life is somewhere for men to get it out before they get to the stage of thinking about suicide. We have created the space for men to not even just learn how to talk, to just be able to get it out. Just have a conversation with me or Callum or with any of the boys that are on the actual team itself. Like our lives, we get a few comments saying, "Oh yeah, this relates to me. This is what happened in my life." People like that, we've helped so many people already because people are able to feel safe and get it out of their systems.
Yeah, just talk about and what sort of sorry, Callum, you go.
I was to say, and we don't try and fix them, and we don't try and change their mindset or anything. We just give them a platform to talk about it, and often we find that that's the best remedy to a lot of things. It's just to talk. Yeah.
What are you finding you guys are talking about? Like, I know that just for anyone who's watching, it's very closed community. No women are allowed, which is good. I'm all for that. So you guys can actually just support each other to actually express yourself in that sort of contained, safe environment. What sort of things are men wanting to speak about that they don't feel safe that they can?
Well, we found that it's really a lot. There's a lot of things. It's sometimes it's suicide in the family, suicide through friendships. It's breakups, divorces, loss of kids. We've had middle-aged people talk about their children and losing them through custody battles. It's there's a lot of stuff. It's really hard to draw a specific on it, but it's just everything that we kind of thought was going on was really going on for guys, I guess. Everything I thought that men were restricting, they were. It's exactly what I thought it was. They were all restricting. That's some of the toughest shit that people experience. And there's just in the comments people were talking about it and dropping this paragraphs upon paragraphs in the middle of our live stream, and we were addressing it and talking to them about it. And the guests we've had on, it's some of the things they've experienced. They've never had a platform to talk about it before. And it was really amazing to give them that kind of opportunity.
Yeah. Oh, it's awesome. So what you're experiencing is that pretty much anything and everything, men feel like they can't express it.
Yeah.
And so they come to this place to express this because now there's this safe environment called Blokes Life. And I know there's other things out there. I'm not saying there's not other things out there. There are. But you've created this, space where men can come and just pretty much talk about anything. And what you're finding is there are so many things men are not being able to talk about that they can in this safe kind of group.
Yeah, exactly.
And what is that like for you guys? Because I know that originally you guys were a bit terrified about doing this. You're like, man, we're going to be the ones to do this. But you did it.
I'll go first if you want, Callum.
Yeah, go for it.
I still shit myself every time before a live. And thinking, fuck, what's going to go on tonight kind of thing. But as soon as it's done, as soon as we get 45 minutes in, it feels like we've been on for 5 minutes. And as soon as that hour's up, me and Callum still want to talk about stuff. We still want to keep going. We could go for at least 5 hours, I reckon, but we've got a time limit. We don't want to just start jabbering and things like that.
We go over
as
time.
I'm off, I'm happy. Yeah. As soon as we get off the live, I feel happy and a lot more energetic. I feel it it's a normal term for like other people, but I feel high on life.
Yeah. What do you reckon that is? Why do you think that you get off alive after actually talking to men about what's really happening in their lives, and you actually feel that, like, that experience of being empowered on a high?
You know you're making a difference.
You know you're making a difference.
Yeah.
You're talking about what matters to people, what matters to these men. And I just want to highlight, for those of you who don't know, maybe you can say this. What's the current statistic or leading cause of death amongst men under 30?
Suicide.
It's suicide. More men commit suicide
It's
than
60%,
have
60% of suicide rates are done by.
60% of suicide happens by men.
It could be a rough statement. I'll search it up right now, but I'm very confident that is the case.
Yeah. I love it. But also, I mean, men under 30, leading cause of death, nothing else. Car accidents, all the other things, leading cause of death is suicide. And I know that what you guys saw is everything that you went through. What you guys saw is that you're going to go create this group, because this is something, and every time you do, like you just said, you do a live, you get off going, this makes a difference. What is it you do on this group? Tell me a little bit about what you do.
Well, okay, so we have a Monday live every Monday, where we get 2 guests on, and then me and Jacob talk to them and interview them and ask them questions, get them to share their story, their experiences. We invite people in the comments to share their stories so we can address them and talk to them. We have posts and people post things about themselves and about their story. We had one man post a story about his experience going to another country and witnessing people killing other people and being a part of it, and how guilty he felt. And it was one of the most powerful things I've ever read in my life. And we try to create an environment for things like that where there's no limit to what you can express. We just want you to express.
Yeah. So you basically just have a discussion with some guys. I know that you guys have some drinks as well, from what I hear. You have some beers.
Well, it was inspired by the whole drink thing was inspired by the idea where often men will find is when they get very drunk at a party or at a bar, they'll have an experience where they just vent and talk to a random other person who's drinking with them. They connect with them and they just talk to them about all kinds of things. I do it all the time. I think, Jacob, you've definitely done it a lot of the time. Like, a lot of us, we've all experienced a circumstance where we've had a drink, we've looked over at a bloke called Gaza, and we've just had a cigarette and we've just talked to him about life. And it's often those situations where we feel comfortable doing it. So I thought, well, me and Jacob thought, why don't we incorporate some of that into what we do to make guys feel more comfortable?
That is so awesome. So you have only really felt comfortable to talk to some random guy at a pub about your actual life, not the people that you love the most.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
But at the same time, like I've like one of the posts, because we normally say grab a beverage, but at the same time we are still trying to remind everyone that you don't need to drink.
Yeah.
Like, I have a few beers and stuff like that, but if you can't drink and you can't handle to drink, don't drink. If you want to get involved and have a drink, have a can of Coke, have a glass of water. But if you can have a drink, but don't if you know you can't. We're still trying to promote that you don't need to be an alcoholic to be able to speak.
Because we're not advertising, or doing anything to any of the coaching environment. Because often we find that a lot of the people doing these things, they often have the same people in their industry a part of their community. They don't have normal, regular people a part of their community. So we find that with the whole drinking thing, you don't have to, don't get me wrong, but for some regular people who aren't comfortable being a part of it, sometimes drinks are just what tips the scale to get them to really feel comfortable.
Yeah, I get that. It's like there's stuff out there for men that's very like coaching and development, and and this stuff, but that's not what you guys are about. You're just like two regular guys that want to just have, have a drink and have a chat about some stuff. People may not resonate. There's people that you're going to get to, that other men who do men's groups. I mean, even Alex is on here, right? He does men's groups. He's a great guy. He does some great guys, but he's not going to get to the guys you're going to get to.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not.
We're not professional, and we are just being ourselves. We are just, what's the word you guys use? Authentic. We're just being authentic ourselves.
Yeah.
Well, there's a thing I said, and I think Emily took this down. I think Emily even said this to you. I said there's, and this is a quote that I'm trademarking. All right, no one's taking this. There's no PhD for being a human.
We have trademarked this.
Yes, I'm taking that. That's mine. It's mine.
It was a Callum. That was a Callum saying. You know what PhD you have? You have a PhD in yourself. If you spend time studying who you are, you will get to know yourself really well. And I think it's great that you guys are doing that. And you're sharing yourself with others and being able to, there's Connor. Hey, Connor.
Hey, Connor. He was my first live.
He's one of you guys, isn't he?
Yeah. We've had him on 2 lives now.
Thanks, Connor. And so just because we're going to finish up very soon, but I just want to know, well, people obviously going to want to get to you. So if people have young, like I know I want my brother, I keep trying to get him on this, right? He's into fishing and drinking and all sorts of things. And I think he'd love a space like this to talk. So I'm just going to keep inviting him. I'm actually going to get one of you to call him. Okay. He doesn't listen to me. I'm just his sister. But, for guys that want to get involved or people that know guys that want to get involved, can you post a link into Blokes Life here and tell them, how do they find you?
Well, we can. It's hard because we do have to monitor the women coming in because we've had a lot of women. We've had 2 slip in accidentally through the invites. Some under like different names or blokes' names with cartoon photos or stuff, and we kind of just slipped over it. So it's very hard, and it's only me and Jacob really being accepting and monitoring that. So it's hard, but we can post links and stuff to and invites to everyone. It's just it takes a while to get everyone on because it's only me and Jacob really accepting all of them and monitoring everything.
Yeah, because you guys are going off, right? You've got how many people you got in your group now?
Now we've got
90.
How many?
590.
590, highly engaged. These are like guys that just like love what you're doing. Blokes names. No, it's called Blokes Life.
Yeah.
Blokes Life. Look, anyway, I was about to, I run a social media school, so I was about to like give you coaching on accepting people into your groups. You guys do what you want to do. Okay. But I get it. There are a few people on here that may want their brothers or someone to come in. Alex may want to be a part of it. I definitely want Alex, if you're still on here, I know these guys would love your support. So if they can get in contact with you and, if you just want to say, if you could give a message to everyone out there about what they can provide to young men or just men, in general, to have them feel safe and how they can allow the men in their lives not to edit what they say or edit who they are, what would you say? What would be your advice, Callum?
My advice to that would be to understand how they probably are very uncomfortable with it in the first place. Like you can't push that. You can't push that out of them. You have to understand that. Because I often find that a lot of women really like seeing men vulnerable. They really do. That's often why they want to be a part of the page. But you kind of got to understand that that's not the normal for them. And if you want to get that out of them, it's a very hard and difficult thing to do. I'd say just let them know that you're supportive of them and you're ready to listen to them whenever they're ready. and that you conversating with them is a safe environment. That's all you can do. You can't really force anything else out of them. If they're comfortable with it, they're comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's actually a good point that you put there. I mean, yeah, you know, what people may not know is that Here on Purpose created Best Life, created Blokes Life. So I'm taking a bit of credit for it, guys. But I wanted to be a part of it. I was like, I want to go in and check this out because it's true. I want to see men vulnerable. You know, I've got a dad and I've got, 6 brothers. I'm like, I want to see men vulnerable. And I like watching you. That's why I said when I watch you, I just get so moved because you guys are opening up a space for men to actually provide a space for men to just be real. And you guys are just so not trying to be anything. You're not some polished professional guy out there doing the thing. You're just 2 regular guys that are 19 and 21 that are like, guys, we're here, we want to listen. And women do want to see that. But I think it's a really good point that you make, that despite women want to see it, right now we're at a place where men just want a space to express that together.
Yeah.
And at some point, at some time it will come that when that happens, that they'll be able to provide it somewhere else. But at this time, you're providing that space for men that just don't feel like they can be that way anywhere.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add, Jacob? Like, what would you say if you wanted? Yeah.
If you can just be straight up with everything, be straight up, talk about everything. Like me and Callum were talking about on the live last night about, don't just talk about bad things. Talk about good things as well. Don't always start a conversation and keep a conversation going about bad things. You always talk about the good things as well, because if you talk about the good things, you're going to change your own mindset.
Do you find that sometimes you feel like people talk about the bad things?
Yeah.
Yeah, we addressed that. We talked about that.
Say, if you want to go talk to one of the boys, like say me or Callum wants to go talk to one of the boys, if it's normally only if we talk about depressing, sad things. You don't see many people talking about happy moments either. Yeah, we are promoting people to talk about all their issues, but once in a while, get yourself happy. Talk about the happy times. Get your mindset into a happy state. That's what I reckon would be the best thing for people to do. Talk about all your issues, but also talk about some of the good things and keep a good vibe and keep your mindset in a good place.
No, it's great. It's great what you're saying. Sorry, Callum, you go.
Oh yeah. So yeah, and like that, how we created that environment. There's been a bloke or two who posted like little things like a photo of their morning. One of them was on a boat fishing with a beer in their hand, and they caught a fish. And they're kind of just asking how everyone else's morning's going, and it's things like that. It's like not everyone's like talking about the depressing and sad things, but we do create an open environment for that.
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, I like to always think about this saying that is, what you resist persists, right? So you resist talking about your experience. You resist talking about what's happening in your life. What happened with your friend, Riley, what happened with your mum. You resist it. It keeps persisting, right? But once you get a space to talk about it, doesn't mean it's the only thing you want to talk about. It's like, I want to talk about this and everything else. And there's all my other life as well. But I don't need to hide this part of who I am. Now I can express that along with other things and everything else.
We often find that a lot of us just want to listen now as well. Like we don't even really need it. Some of us don't have anything to say. We just want to listen.
That's great. That is a very valuable trait to have, particularly with girlfriends, just so you know.
Fair play.
Fair play. But other way around, it's not just about you listening. It's about them listening to you as well, and giving a space for you to be heard.
Yeah.
So is there anything else you would like to say before we end this today?
I'd just say to look out for us. Reach out to me and Jacob whenever anyone is in need. If you'd like to be a part of Blokes Life and invited, feel free to message us. If not, I'm sure we can find ways to post links.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love if you could have posted a link. I can't guarantee that a couple of girls aren't going to want to go in there and stalk you, but I think you're going to get that no matter what, man.
Yeah, we might have to just risk it for the biscuit, to be honest.
Risk it for the biscuit, that's right. But if you could post a link in here, it means that, so not everyone knows how to engage in this conversation, right? It reaches about 1,500 people. And what you get is a whole lot of people, what I call these silent stalkers, that want to hear this conversation, may not engage, but will absolutely go over to your page. So if you can post that link in, you're going to get those people come to you. So that'd be great. And if you can go and, talk to everyone that's engaged here as well, no doubt anyone that has had something to say about this has really got a story behind what you're talking to.
Yeah.
So I just want to, anything for you, Jacob, that you'd like to say?
Just, it's crazy how such a small thing can be such a big difference. That's all I want to say. Just remember that.
This is not a small thing, guys. I mean, that I cried when this happened.
Yeah.
I'm starting to get moved again. Like, this is not a small thing. Having a 19-year-old and a 21-year-old, see, I'm very okay expressing my emotions. Two guys that went, I want to be the guys that go out and make a difference to young men when there is such a big issue right now with men not feeling like they can express themselves. This is not a small thing. It may feel like that because you just Yeah.
Where I come from with the small thing is small positive talks and being able to talk and chat to people. It's such a small thing, but it can make a huge difference. That's where I'm coming from with that. I
get exactly what you're saying. And what I can hear is you want to encourage people all to be like that, not just this space, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. And just like Sky said, you may never know the real difference you make, but you're saving lives just by creating this group and creating this space for men. So I just want to thank you and honor you both. I love you so much. Thank you for being on tonight and sharing this. And make sure you go in and drop that link so other people can share it. Yeah. Thank you. Everyone that is watching, I didn't get to engage with everything. I saw you all jump on. If you are seeing this and you're not commenting, that's absolutely fine. Go and check these awesome guys out. Share this with everyone in your life that you know this would make a difference to. And follow Jacob Smales and Callum Dan to get more insight into the kind of difference you can make to young men. Have a great night, and I will catch you guys later. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.